former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko. Welcome, Ron. Thank you for joining us.
Sure, good to be with you.
Look, Ron, you know from these investigations, so far, have you and your expert eye seen anything specific that lassos Hillary Clinton to any kind of crime?
Not as of today, but we are seeing what seems to me to be a lot of smoke. And smoke is what very often predicates FBI investigations. When they investigate some of that smoke, they may see sparks, they may see fire, or they may see a bit of fog. And so that's their job, is to penetrate that smoke and find out what's really behind it. But between the take that is in the FBI's possession on the laptops, the work-related emails that we have heard about, the things coming out of WikiLeaks right now, the books, the comments about the intersection of power and influence, I think there's plenty here for the FBI to have predicated investigations and to be moving forward with all deliberate speed.
All right. So we're using the arrow analogy. The arrows are flying. Again, they haven't yet hit Hillary specifically. But look, let's get to this Wall Street Journal report. There are these recordings that supposedly came about from a separate corruption case, unrelated, but agents decided that they wanted to pursue it, and yet word is that higher-ups had said, no, you know what, stand down. Why normally do higher-ups say stand down or back off?
You know, there are often legitimate differences of opinion in the predication for a case or what sort of case the FBI may have. And I say legitimate because I think they are very legitimate differences of opinion. And typically that means go back and find more. Build your case with the tools that you have at hand, and then we'll move to the next level. That happens commonly, and often it forms a better case and a more cohesive investigator-prosecutor team. If the difference here is that someone wants to protect or buffer Hillary Clinton from an investigation, that's an important distinction to make. Now, I'm being told there were important meetings at DOJ early this year, and that the FBI was not told to stand down, but to go back and gather additional facts, not discontinue, not turn off the investigation. And in fact, I don't believe any investigations were turned off.
Well, look, a good investigator does not reveal evidence until he or she has just about everything ready to present on the table. But until then, the best that we can do is either get from sources, which Fox News has been working on, but also from experts like you or perhaps even former U.S. attorneys. And I bring that up because Governor William Weld, who is a rival of Hillary Clinton's, he's running on the Libertarian ticket. He's a former brilliant U.S. attorney, and in an interview with CNN, and he's told other outlets multiple times this issue, here's what he said recently, quote, "There's no way for Mrs. Clinton to learn what the evidentiary basis is for which they made this update. I think Director Comey did the right thing initially in July by concluding that no reasonable prosecutor would bring charges." Again, Bill Weld was a very tough U.S. attorney. What do you make of that?
Right. You know, the opinions in this case about what Jim Comey did and when he did it are so divided. You know, coming over here the other day, I opened the Washington Post. Here's an opinion piece by Bill Barr, very respected former Attorney General, saying Comey did exactly the right thing. And right next to it is an opinion from Eric Holder that's saying Comey was wrong. And the gap between those two things was about this thin on the paper. That's the gap that Jim Comey's trying to walk through at night in a hurricane. And so I think he's in a very difficult position, but I'm very confident he's doing the right things for what he believes are the right reasons. And the FBI will grind forward towards the truth.
Okay. I need your gut reaction before we go. Is there something there that we just don't know yet? Do you think that things are being held back from the American people?
Oh, I absolutely do. You know, we are in election season. There are DOJ guidelines, so I think there are legitimate reasons to try to fly under the radar during an election season so as to not appear to influence. However, I think there's plenty under the surface. I think we're going to find that there were intrusions into her network, Huma Abedin, Mills, others, because of how sloppily they did their work and wrongfully they did their work. Okay. I think there's that, and I think we're going to see the intersection between power and influence with the Clinton Foundation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. Ron Hosko is former FBI Assistant Director.